What's the most nightmarish teacher you ever had? In my junior year of high school, we got assigned to a new English teacher, Mrs. Keller. At first, she seemed harmless, quiet voice, neat handwriting. The kind of teacher you'd expect to just hand out essays and grade quietly. But within the first week, we realized we were trapped in her personal version of hell. She had rules for everything, rules that made no sense. You couldn't look out the window, even for a second she'd slam her hand on your desk and accuse you of daydreaming instead of thinking critically. If you didn't underline the title of a book in your notes, she'd rip the page out of your notebook and make you start over. And the worst rule? No speaking unless spoken to. If you raised your hand without her asking for input, she'd mark you down a full letter grade for disobedience. At first, students laughed it off. But it didn't take long before the atmosphere in her classroom turned suffocating. We sat stiff, terrified of doing anything that might set her off. She targeted certain kids, too quiet ones, kids with learning disabilities, anyone she decided was lazy. I saw her reduce one boy to tears because he spelled Shakespeare wrong on a quiz. She leaned over him, voice icy, and said, "If you can't even spell the author's name, you don't deserve to read him." The breaking point came during midterms. She assigned us a massive essay, 10 pages, MLA format, every source double-checked. I stayed up for nights working on it, exhausted but proud when I finally turned it in. A week later, she handed mine back with a giant red F and the word plagiarized scrawled across the front. I was stunned. I had cited every source, followed every rule. When I tried to argue, she stood me up in front of the class and said, "This is what happens when you try to cheat your way through life." My classmates stared at me like I'd just been caught stealing. I wanted to disappear. My parents, strict as they were, believed her instantly. I was grounded, banned from going out for weeks. It wasn't until the following semester, when another teacher reviewed my essay for a scholarship application, that the truth came out. I hadn't plagiarized at all. Mrs. Keller had simply decided some students couldn't possibly write at a certain level, so she failed them preemptively. When parents found out she'd done the same to other students, there was an uproar. Complaints piled up, and by the end of the year, she quietly retired. But the damage was done. She killed the confidence of dozens of students, myself